This meeting of the Richland County Board to order. I ask the clerk to take the roll.
Harrell.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Kramer.
Here.
McKee.
Here.
Engel.
Here.
Hendricks.
Here.
Manning. Gill.
Here.
Glassburner. Harwick. Woodhouse.
Here.
Turk.
Here.
Cosgrove.
Here.
Frank.
Here.
Severson.
Present.
Williamson.
Here.
Cooey.
Here.
Fleming.
Here.
Brookins.
Here.
And McGuire.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Our invocation tonight, Pastor Tim Ward is with us from the Free Methodist Church. If you'd stand.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for what a beautiful day that you've given to us, the sun shining and birds are chirping. We thank you for life that you have given to us. And Father, I thank you for these elected officials and these county members. We pray, Father, that you would continue to give them wisdom in all of the activities that they do and the decisions they make tonight. But in this Holy Week, amongst all things, we ask that you would help us to focus on life and resurrection in Jesus' name. Amen.
Turn and face the flag. I'll ask the clerk to lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are we in compliance with the open meetings law?
Yes, Mr. Chair, the meeting is properly noticed.
Very good. You have before you a 22-point agenda. We are scratching item 19. That is not ready for action yet. So I'd be looking for a motion to approve the agenda with item 19 removed. Motion by Cosgrove, second by Fleming. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We have an agenda and item 7, minutes from our March 18th meeting. Anybody have questions, clarifications, or corrections to the March 18th minutes that were presented to us? Hearing none, the chair will declare that those minutes are approved as presented. Item number 8 is public comment. Do we have any members of the public that wish to address the board tonight? Yes, go ahead. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tony Johnson. I'm owner-operator of P&J Tire Disposal, DNR number 17381. So what I'm bringing to attention today is a problem I'm sure a lot of people have is what are we going to do with our used tires? Well, in town, you can take it to Bendel. You might be able to take it to the junkyard, but they're going to charge you maybe $8, $9, $10 a tire. Well, what we're looking to do is help all the locals, all the local businesses and the county. So the county, one, doesn't have to deal with the used tires, and two, we're not dealing with tires thrown in ditches. And I don't know how many times, today I've seen tires laying either in a creek bed, the ditch, somebody's yard, behind their shed. They got 200 tires stacked up. Well, I'm here to end that, and I'm here to solve that problem. What I need from the county, I don't need funding. I don't need, materials. We just need a location to set up. Now, I talked to Matt Williams. He's in charge of zoning. I talked to Jason Glassburner. And they brought up to me that there was a couple locations out there in the fairgrounds that might be ideal for our setup. So I went out there and I took a look at that location, and it looks perfect for what we need. So the way our business would run is we'd stack up tires for a period of 1 month to 2 months. And after that duration, we're going to bring in a shredder, get rid of those tires, eradicate them so we don't have any tires left on site. And then we're going to, essentially, repeat that cycle every 2 months. I'm understanding that there's nothing out there right now. It's just grass. And that's not making you guys money. So what we would be open to is if the county isn't able to donate the land to allow us to start our business there, we would be open to do a rent to own, a lease agreement, whatever you guys, would be ideal for the county. We would be looking to put buildings up there in the future after we had the money to do so. So I guess really what we need is just approval from the county to get started and from there. I don't have a lot to talk about. Obviously, this wasn't on the agenda tonight. That's why I come in to do the best I could. And I'm hoping that's enough information to get you guys started and, have a decision on that. I will be looking to other counties and townships. This will be on the Ithaca Town Board meeting May 5th. I will be attending that. So between now and then, if you guys are able to get this on the next meeting, I will be back to have further discussion. That's something available.
All right. Thank you, Tony. We'll certainly watch for future developments. Anybody else with public comment? Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, I'm Shirley Welty and I live in Dayton Township. I may have questions when we get to number 12, the report from the Natural Resources Standing Committee. I didn't see the information about that report in the packet. I might have missed it, but I might have some questions when we get there.
Okay, it may be that they don't have any petitions at this time, so I'm
Okay.
getting the nod from the clerk. That's the case. So,
All right, thank you.
yep. Any other members of the public with comment? Supervisor Hendricks.
Could I ask that gentleman a question?
It's not really on the agenda for us to engage in discussion about it, so you could certainly, individually talk to him. We're welcome as board members to do that, but as far as during the board meeting, no, we're not able to.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other members of the public with comment? Anybody online? Nope. All right, then we'll move on to item 9, which is an election of a committee on committee member. We have a vacancy on that committee since the passing of Supervisor Brewer. And so we'll be distributing ballots here to elect one member of the county board to be on that committee. The current members of the committee on committees are Supervisor Williamson, Severson, Frank, Turk, Glassbrenner, and Carroll. So the ballot coming around has the names of every other member of the board on it, so you can indicate who you would like to elect. Do we have any board members who have particular interest in the position?
I think Cooley does.
That's why he's looking down and rummaging through his bag, right?
It was Mr. Cosgrove that showed a lot of interest.
So we'll ask you all to
Write your name.
write your name on it. This is not a secret ballot, so write your name on the ballot and then mark who you are voting for. Then we will collect up and tally the ballots and see if we can get a person elected to this seat.
So I have an extra one if you need one. Done? Oh, sorry, you probably want one, huh?
The only one I have left. You, I can.
I'm gonna get the ballot sheet ready.
You look really busy.
Thanks.
You and John.
I vote
Yes,
twice.
Josh and I also.
That's good.
2 check marks is.
Yeah.
Here's the ballot sheet. Mr. McGuire still.
Any other ballots still out?
Everybody got theirs in? Other than Mr. McGuire.
He's 7. Yeah, right.
Derek and Josh will tally the ballots for us.
Power is down in our state fees. That was in the planning, it's not by anybody.
Stops are on, so everything comes. This is the.
Great. No. I haven't heard about it.
Well, they're working on it. Yeah.
Oh, at the top. Have a lot of time. Thing for why I don't. About it, got me.
Oh, here, sign as one of the inspectors with a pen.
So let me just.
Got the results?
I want to double check one more time.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's just sort of.
Well, that's for that. People bring them in, don't they?
White House. Sounds about.
They really are.
Congress. White House.
People think about that.
Sure. Council.
That's a great idea.
Yep. So I agree, one of the key. Three. One, two, I have two for you. Right here. Two per crew, yep.
That bowl. Park. Cemetery.
Chat.
You know, that's where churn is dirt.
Fourth row.
If it rains, then what else?
I agree.
Rains a lot.
Agree.
Double verified.
Like your plan.
We have the results. The leading vote getter and person elected to the committee and committee, Supervisor Hendricks. So there will be a meeting coming up fairly soon of that committee again, because we've got some revisions to do for our some structure and everything. All right. Well, let's move on to item 10, appointments to various boards, committees, and commissions. And the committee and committees met just before the board tonight. We have one appointment to make.
We have two, actually. We have
Two, I'm sorry, two.
Total of three.
Total of three appointments to make, two besides the one we acted on tonight, so.
So Committee on Committees acted on appointing Supervisor Engel to the Community and Health Services Standing Committee. So I did speak with Supervisor Engel before this, and he was willing to accept that appointment. I still believe you're accepting that appointment, correct? Okay. And then I have two other ones. I have the approval of appointment of Paul Wartsema to the Comprehensive Community Services Coordinating Committee, so CCS Coordinating Committee. And then one more, the approval to appoint Deanna Lewis to the Aging ADRC Advisory Committee, representing a various slot on that committee. So those are the three appointments that I have for you tonight for approval.
We have a motion to confirm those appointments. Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Gill. Any further discussion? All in favor of the appointments as presented, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Appointments are confirmed. Thank you. Item 11, report on petitions for zoning amendments received since the last county board session. We have none, correct?
That's correct. So Natural Resources Standing Committee met. They did not have any ordinances to move forward to county board, which is why you see no ordinances on there as you usually do. And I'm not aware of any petitions received since the last county board session.
Okay, and that would mean we also have none recommended for denial, correct?
That is correct.
All right, that brings us down to item 13, county administrator update, our final update from our interim administrator and interim deputy administrators.
Okay, so first and foremost, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for the opportunity to serve as interim county administrator. Obviously, it's always a privilege and honor for me to serve Richland County in any way possible, especially in this capacity. An excellent learning experience for me, I will say. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Special thanks to Josh Elder in acting as the deputy interim county administrator, and then to all the county staff for their hard work and dedication to the county. we really do have great staff. We should all be very thankful for the great staff that we have. So thank you to all of them, and thank you to all of you for everything you do. And of course, a welcome to Ms. Tricia Clements, the newest incoming county administrator, effective 4/21/2025. For those of you that don't know Tricia, she's right behind you, right back there. So we welcome her. Thanks. All right, a few other housekeeping notes. Offices will be closed on Friday, April 18th. That's Good Friday. So if you need something, catch us before Thursday afternoon at 4:30 or call my cell phone. You all have the number. Wisconsin Act 235 was effective on April 1 of 2025. Attorney Wendell will be giving you all a presentation for that at the next county board meeting in May, but he will talk to us as department heads at our department head meeting on Thursday. The Register of Deeds, myself, Attorney Wendell, Land Conservation, and the property lister met a couple different times to make sure that the county was in compliance and had our ducks in a row to handle any Act 235 information as it finds our way to us. So maybe some of you have heard of that, maybe you haven't, but nonetheless, we do have policies, procedures, forms in place for if we have to, act in accordance with Act 235, we are able to do so. So the vacancy for district number 3 was advertised for another 2 weeks. So that will be in the Observer 417 and 424, as well as in the Shopee News 422 and 429. So we did this before. The only letter of interest we received was someone who is not a qualified elector of District 3. Therefore, they can't serve in that district. So the letter of interest for serving in District 3 are due at 4 p.m. on Friday, May 16th for a possible appointment at the May 20th County Board meeting. So again, this is the same practice we used before. We just duplicated what we did. Took a little week and a half break in between the posts just because life happens and we were quite busy, but hopefully we have a candidate for you all to review and approve at the next board meeting in May. The Lou Everett group training. So those of you that attended the first one, hopefully you felt it was beneficial. I thought it was a good time. I think I enjoyed working with colleagues. I enjoyed working with people in a different capacity than just in a meeting like this. It's nice to see those different sides of people. You really do get to learn more about people other than, again, just the business face that we have. So there are 3 more of those sessions. Remember, they were rescheduled a little bit. The second one is actually now going to be held on May 21st. So write that down, May 21st. Miranda will be sending, or if the new administrator wants to notify you all differently, you will receive a reminder from someone at some point letting you know they're all there. These next meetings are virtual and they're only 2 hours long. So they're from 9:30 to 11:30. So that being said, you can attend anywhere. I'm assuming we'll have something set up here in the county boardroom as a whole if we need to, but they will be Q2 is May 21st, since you have your pen and paper out. Q3 is also July 16th. So that'll be the third one, July 16th. And then the fourth quarter will be October 15th. You will get plenty of reminders, don't worry, but I'm just telling you all now. So no one can say they didn't know because you all know now. So, but again, the same format will be, they will all be virtual from 9:30 in the morning until 11:30. So 2 hours, a little different than last time, but that was what we agreed to was the first one in person and the other one's virtual. There'll be an agenda or at least some, not as long as the last one, but I'll give you more information about that, the topics that'll be covered and that sort of thing as we get closer. But those will go through the rest of the year. Moving on to some staffing updates. PAA, which is Public Administration Associates, we're all quite familiar with them. They've helped us with a couple different administrator recruitments. We've engaged their services in the search for a finance director. We've tried a couple times. They have a larger scope than we do. They can cast the net a little larger than we can. So the advertisement was approved today, actually. So that will go out. John Hokemer, you all are familiar with John. He and Dave will be working on that. The application for those tentative deadlines will be May 16th. And then I'll bring that back to the committee and the committee can decide exactly how they want to move forward. This search is going to be a much simpler and much more watered down version of a search that we would use. Like it's not going to be the same caliber as it was for the county administrator. But again, they have access to a wider net of capturing candidates that have those desirable skill sets that we need for this cornerstone foundation for the finance director. And hopefully one that's, around for a little longer than what we had last time, as that position is new to the county and still, we're still cementing that in as one of the core positions. Any questions about that? No? Okay. HHS director interviews are scheduled for April 21st, so next Monday, I believe. So that's another big position to fill, but we're working towards that. Any 2025 Wisconsin Counties Association annual business meeting resolutions are going to be due to them by June 23rd. I believe the chairs, county administrators did receive that notice, and sometimes we don't always send stuff. We have before in the past, but it's been a little while. So anyway, if
There
there's
wound up being a lot of resolutions from counties with political perspectives that they tend to get lumped into a thing and then not acted on at the annual meeting,
So if we have something, we'll
We have something.
communicate with that, and we'll get those sent out because they are time sensitive. Wage study update. So you've heard me talk about this, I think, at every meeting since January, but I did have a meeting with Tessa on Friday, so last Friday, 4/11. So confirmed that all final appeals were processed. DDA has completed our market review of the wage scale as a whole. So you will remember that part of the services we engaged with them was that on an annual basis, they would review the wage scale as a whole, compare that to the market to make sure that our scale is still market rate competitive, that sort of thing. I didn't get the spreadsheet back. I had a quick, probably 10 or 15-minute conversation with her. I told her I would be reporting something to you all tonight. So that was the conversation I got. I was hoping to have a document to look at in front of me, but I do not have that in front of me. I do know that findings, and Trish, this is something that we can talk about more in detail, and you all will hear more about this, especially during budget time. This is the budget piece of this that we have to decide. And also, again, when we're considering steps and COLAs, this is the information that will be presented to executive and finance and a part of the budget for 2026. But some quick findings that I did find out were no one is under our minimum wages, our minimum salary that we have. So that is the biggest cost to adjust to get people to go from, the smallest market rate per job to get them up to speed. So no one is falling behind in terms of what the market is paying and what we're paying at the least amount of, the least salary. We're not falling behind. So that's good. The maximum, so the most that we pay people is actually a little bit low compared to the market. There's a couple different ways remedies to fix this. We can add a few steps to the pay grid. We can commit to the one step in the COLA of about 3%. These are all things that this is very surface level. So this is not gospel. Don't take and say this is what's going to happen with the budget, because that's not what I'm saying. But on the surface level, the wage scale is doing what it was meant to do and what you all implemented it to do, which is to maintain that market rate. And then we got a few adjustments to make. There will be some positions that'll have to be reviewed on a regular basis because they're just, I don't want to say volatile in nature, but they change often. So healthcare is one of them, and things like that we'll need to review. But at this point, the wage scale is doing what we wanted it to do. So that's great. There was a lot of time and investment from you decision makers to get there, but also from staff to get us to that point. So again, this is a conversation that we're really just at the tip of the iceberg. There's much more to do here, but that's what I have to report on that for you right now. I will turn it over to Mr. Elder, who can talk about the radio tower project. You will, sir.
Sure. So I'll go over where we're at with each site currently. So with Richland Center, shelter construction is being finished, fencing and ground restoration underway. Gotham, punch list and restoration work being finished. Muscadet, punch list and restoration work being finished. Westport, shelter construction next, tower stacking next, fencing and ground restoration underway. Viola, shelter completed, tower stacking underway, fencing and ground restoration underway. Bunker Hill, fencing and ground restoration being completed, inside shelter mods underway. Keysville, tower lighting, electrical and punch list and restoration work being finished. Boaz, shelter construction next. And Yuba, no civil work until May 2025, equipment being staged in the county. Past that, antenna and line installation work is slated to begin any time with a goal completion of May 30th. between May 30th and mid part of June is going to be testing and making sure things are starting to work. And as of a projected schedule of 6/23, civil work is 100% completed at all 9 sites. Antenna and lines work at 100%, microwave pathing, new radio systems, so on and so forth. And then it'll start the transition in the month of July for the various agencies to start going on to the new system. After the last meeting that we had with all fire EMS, it is not going to be a flip the switch and everybody's going to the new system. Whether it works or not is to be determined. It'll be a process of one department at a time going onto the system while the old one remains. Once everything is switched in that department to the new system and verified everything works, then the old radio systems will be shut down and you will be on the new system, but it'll be confirmed of compatibility first, one at a time until it's completed. So no big scares of flipping among, the master switch and everything changes. Past that, out of the starting budget of 8.3, the contract amount currently spent is 3.8 million. Keep in mind, there's still quite a bit of money to spend on that, but as the civil work and everything gets completed, that's when the major bills will probably wrap up on that. So you'll see that number kind of spike. So that's what we're tracking right now for budget. We will also circle back to them, make sure that where all the money's being spent and everything is being completed on time. That's what I have on the radio tower.
Thank you. Any questions for that?
Questions? Mr. Woodhouse.
Will the Yuba site affect the timeline of the entire project? That's the furthest behind project, right?
It is the furthest behind, but it's not going to affect the overall schedule. I mean, it's the last one to go started construction, but they're still expecting to be done with it by the end of May. So it's not going to really affect the actual schedule.
Thank you.
Supervisor Kramer, go ahead.
What happens to the old tower that sits next to the new tower up at the Bunker Hill site?
Well, that tower has remained there for quite some time, and it's probably just going to stay. I don't imagine it's being torn down.
Questions?
Few more things to finish with here. The Tyler HR implementation is underway. Another monumental task we've been working on. The final data pull from the 400 is scheduled for 4 p.m. on 4/16, which is tomorrow at 4 p.m. A little bit scary just because we're now migrating fully to this software. So I've been working with all the payroll folks, the small army that we've assembled to work this out. We have a pretty good schedule set up for next Monday to make sure all payrolls are reviewed and kind of completed by at least 2 different people. So that's kind of the plan for going live on 4/21. We will do that data pull and then really start to use that new payroll system. So maybe bring us treats next week. We may need them. But I think we've done a ton of work, you guys. It's been a ton of work, a ton of verification. I feel like I checked in with the team today. We had a call at 3 just to try to put everyone at ease, and I think we feel okay with moving forward. I feel much better than I thought I was going to about 45 days ago. So we're working on this together. The time and attendance piece is kind of the second part of this. That won't start until May, and that's actually going to extend out through September. A little longer than I thought it would for implementation, but nonetheless, the efficiencies that we can create by using the new software should hopefully be present by September. So when that other implementation comes in, it's not as overwhelming as something like this is. So we have several payroll cycles. We have multiple time clocks, and then the module to implement that is quite robust. Again, I didn't realize it was as robust as the HR system itself, but nonetheless, I need to commend all of the payroll folks, Trish and Josh, in Pine Valley for bringing their staff over and everyone working together. I said this last time, this is a really good example of how the county has, through interdepartmental resources, shared and really worked together, because it has.
Broken out of the silos.
Absolutely, yes, true. So I'm very happy with everyone, and again, it'll be a real life thing next week. Last thing to update on is the UW campus update. So on April 23rd, department heads will be heading out to the campus from 1 to 3 to take one more walkthrough to see if there's any office equipment they could use. So I did send that email out to department heads today. Hopefully department heads, you all got it. Okay, so we'll have some people out there. The specialized items have started to be reviewed anyway. The pianos were reviewed, and those of you that were at the CRC meeting last week heard that interpretation that of those that remain, there's the one grand piano that has the most promise, but there's some refurbishment needed to make that promise, come to life. So the other equipment will be examined as we go in, but that's what I have for my update today, sir.
Mr. Carroll.
I didn't quite catch go parallel with Tyler and the ASP.
Parallels are done. Parallels were finished last week, so we verified all that.
Okay.
On Monday, we start to enter stuff into Tyler, and that is the only, we're,
Okay. Thanks.
yep.
Any other questions? On behalf of the board, I would like to take just a moment to thank both Derek and Josh for all the work they've done over the last few months in getting us, through the things we've gotten through, even as we're transitioning to a new administrator. So I would give them a hearty round of applause for that. Under reports, item B, campus reconfiguration committee update. You heard some of the updates from Derek. I did meet with Jeff Behrens and looked at the musical instruments that are left out at the campus. Overall, he says, they're older and they're worn, but they could be usable with a little bit of work. So we'll see what possibilities we can work out. Derek and I talked a little bit about perhaps we can divide them up between Richland Center and Ithaca. Those are the two school districts that are completely within Richland County, if they're interested. So we'll see what their interest level is. There are also multiple filing cabinets full of sheet music out there that we'll see if they're interested in that too. But if they can get good out of it, yay, that would be awesome. So we have a listing of all the different instruments that Jeff looked at for us. Nothing fancy, nothing of extraordinary value, but they could be functional. And he said, for a kid that wants to be in band that can't afford to buy their own, if they can get a working one to them that they can play, hey, that's cool. So that's kind of the level we're looking at with most of those. Otherwise, the Brewer Library has continued to take some things out of the library building, some shelving, some books, some tables. A lot of furnishings have moved out because it's better stuff than what they had in their building, and so they're very appreciative of that. They're coming again Thursday to take what will hopefully be their last load of stuff that they're taking out. And then we'll also be looking at next week, the department heads walking through and trying to get as much as we can out of it that the county can use. And then after we've gotten everything out we can use, we do need to reach out to UW-Platteville because there are some student records that they need to pick up. And there's some computer equipment that may have information on it. We don't know, but we want them to take care of that because that shouldn't be our problem to be custodians of that data. So, but the greater majority of items out there, from people who've looked at it, there are a lot of computer monitors, but they're older. There's the computer monitors that don't have HDMI connectors, which is the current standard for easy plug-in. They're older. They don't have that type of connector. So even though they may be functional, they're not really of contemporary value. And so you will see what happens after we get everything usable out. Anybody have questions on campus stuff? Yes.
What about the stuff in the science lab? Is that all there, or is that?
We are working on scheduling with Brandon Federley to come in and look at that and do what Jeff Behrens did with musical instruments. Tell us what it all is, what it could be used for. And again, if it has value to the schools between Richland Center and Ithaca, maybe we can, get it to them so they can be using it. If someone can get use out of it, that would be a great outcome.
We tried to have that happen this week, but I think it's actually going to happen next week with schedule wise. So
yeah, scheduling seems to be the difficulty. We're trying to make it as easy as we can. I've got the ability to get people in there, so that has helped with the library folks. But we're doing our best to expedite it. Ms. Hendricks, go ahead.
Yeah, we're still using files out at the pantry, so we were interested in one of the file cabinets.
A file cabinet?
Yeah, just one. I see there's several out there, so,
And I'm certain there are. Like
Yeah.
a four-drawer
I think we
file
could
cabinet?
probably
is that what
come
you're
up with
thinking,
one.
or like a four-drawer one you're thinking?
Just two. We have
A two-drawer?
two drawers.
Two-drawer.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we still have a lady that uses them regularly, so.
Okay.
And I was just wondering.
Even in the library.
That'd be
so
great.
that's- Yes. That could be easy enough to get worked out, I'm sure. So, Ms. Kramer, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I know you said Ithaca and Richland Center, because they're the ones that are totally within the county.
Right.
But you've got, county taxpayers that their kids go to the other schools. Are you gonna let those schools come in if Richland Center and Ithaca doesn't want all that
If
stuff?
there's stuff they don't want, I'm sure we could try to work something out. It's just the number of school districts that when you get out along the edges you're dealing with, logistically it gets more. And that's probably the only challenge is the logistics of it, I would say.
Okay.
But, you know, if there's stuff they don't want, I certainly wouldn't have any objection if Weston or Riverdale or, you know, one of the other adjoining might have interest. Other questions? Campus reconfig meets again on April 30th, so we'll continue working on stuff. Share any updates again in our next meeting. All right, item 14, a resolution recognizing the retirement of an employee of the Management Information Services Department.
This will be resolution number 25-25. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county board hereby expresses its sincere appreciation to Barbara Scott for 26 years of dedicated service to Richland County. Be it further resolved that the county board wishes Barbara Scott a long and happy retirement, and that the county clerk shall send a copy of this resolution to Barb Scott at her residence. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on April 8 of 25.
It's the resolution been motioned by Mr. McKee, second by Supervisor Kramer. Discussion? Straightforward. All those, Mr. McGuire, go ahead.
Second.
Okay, well, we already got.
Okay, third.
Noted.
Noted, yes. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Resolution is adopted. Item 15, a resolution making a deficiency appropriation to various accounts.
All right, so the resolution number 25-26. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that it is necessary to make a deficiency appropriation in the following deficient accounts. They're listed up there on the resolution for you. Be it further resolved that the sum of $29,271.97 is hereby appropriated from the general fund to the above listed accounts in the 2024 budget to cover those deficiencies. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on March 24th of 2025.
For the resolution, do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Cooey. And discussion.
This is an annual resolution that we do as a part of just reviewing the cash trial balance for all of our accounts to refill these buckets. I have, these are our new Tyler reports, by the way. Way better than the other ones. I can, if you would like me to, I can go over kind of why we have some of these deficiencies.
Sure.
It's nothing major, but sure. So Fund 32, that's the UW Richland outlay account. As you all know, we were unaware that we would be taking over some of these expenses when the 2024 budget was created back in 2023. So this is just that overage from having bills to pay at the campus. We didn't expect to, mowing, utilities, all those
We had
things.
to take all that on effective July 1st, so.
We did. And so we did adjust for that in the 2025 budget. We added more knowing that we would be responsible for costs that we didn't originally have, but that explains that balance, which it could have been way worse, I suppose. I think that's actually, it could have been way worse, but we'll take the 12,000. Is that budget or is that deficiency? The next one is the Richland County Fair. So that's, in my head, that's Fund 68. Seems to be stuck somewhere.
I believe so.
What's that?
I believe so.
Yep. And then some summary notes for this one. We were under budget for expenses by 12,000. We were also under budget revenue by 28,000. And that was the weather was not great at that point. There were a couple different reasons why. I'll explain to you.
Weather was a big contributing factor on a couple different nights of that. And then you also had a large amount of repairs that had to take place. We had some water lines that broke around. We had to dig up at the last minute, kind of some emergency repairs that had to be done. So I mean, the bill stacked up fast. It's just a good combination of deferred maintenance and then also, you know, weather is a contributing factor.
We do the best we can to budget for revenues, but can't always
Predict what the weather's gonna do and what the turnout's gonna be.
And then the last one on the list is dog licenses. That's Fund 80. So we were under budget for revenues by $900. So I mean, I guess I can go out there and make everyone register their dog, but we do the best we can with how much we think people are going to register their dogs and that. So those are the deficiencies. Again, we do this every year. We transfer that money from the Fund 10 to, or the general fund, to just make those zero. So refill the bucket so that balance doesn't carry forward into the next fiscal year.
Any questions? No? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item 16, a resolution amending the Register of Deeds fee schedule.
This would be resolution number 25-27. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby given for the amendments to the Register of Deeds fee schedule as noted above. So they're listed up there above for you. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage. Once again offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on March 24th of 2025.
Okay, do I have a motion on this resolution? Motion by Kramer, second by Fleming. And discussion.
These fee increases are to meet the needs of the people that come to our office, basically. A lot of people want mail service and the postage is increasing as we speak. Envelopes are way more expensive. The Farmer Register really didn't charge for those services and they're a big expense. So we're trying to keep our budget manageable and try to bring in a little extra income to help cover some of those expenses. And probably 90% of the people that come to our counter for service for vitals, copies, they want to pay by credit card. Everybody wants to pay by credit card. So we would like to be able to charge these fees to pass on the expenses that it costs for us to use the credit card services. And then also our software vendor has a service for electronic recording of documents, and their prices are cheaper than a lot of the other nationwide service companies. So we would like to be able to add that service with our Fiddler software. And this is a fee that they would charge, and that they would charge actually $1 more, and we would get $4 out of their $5 recording fee. And then the tapestry print fees, those were only being charged 50% for the online service, and the statutory rate is actually $2 and $1 for each first or second page. And so we need to increase those, so we need the statutory regulations.
Any questions on the fee increases? Not. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Adopted that. Item 17, resolution approving the purchase of one new truck by the Highway Department.
This will be resolution number 25-28. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval to purchase one Western Star tandem axle truck as noted above is hereby granted. Be it further resolved that the funds for this purchase are in the County Highways Department's account in the 2025 county budget, and that this resolution shall be effective upon passage. This is being offered to you by the Public Works Standing Committee on March 13 of 2025.
It's a resolution. Do I have a motion? Motion by Fleming, second by Cooey. And discussion. Mr. Severson.
What's the time frame? Right now, we're expecting delivery probably sometime in June or July, if not August. It really depends. I mean, there is a couple contributing factors, but right now they were able to get the order in for that new truck and they're expecting maybe by the end of June.
Faster than before. We're not back in the days of 2-year waits anymore.
Yeah.
Up there, correct.
Ms. Hendricks, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm unfamiliar with any of this. I was uncomfortable with the cost, but I did talk to a few people and I understand that if you were gonna go back to the year 2025, for example, that they're not available. Is that correct?
If you're talking about availability in trucks, yeah, you rewind the clock a year ago, if not 2 years ago, truck availability was extremely hard to get your hands on anything. We originally started and we purchased mainly international right up until about the time of COVID. And then when COVID hit, everybody was used to buying internationals and not going to Western Stars or Peterbilt or something like that. And then, basically they were overwhelmed with the order and they couldn't get the parts for the trucks, so therefore we were waiting. And at one point, we waited almost 2 years before we were able to rebid it and go with Western Star, who actually had availability and got us trucks within a day of the expected delivery date. So that's why we're going with the Western Stars this day, and that price is pretty normal for a tandem axle. We typically, just to go backwards on that even more, in the past, Richland County didn't really do a lot to replace the fleet of trucks, as we have 19 active plow trucks that actually have a dedicated route with a few in reserve. And then what happened was a lot of trucks were 15, 20 years old, and they were spending more time in the shop than they actually were out doing the job. So it was important a couple years ago to get in the habit of at least replacing 1 to 2 trucks a year to replenish the fleet. And we are making a good amount of progress there. And that's why this year we decided to go with 1, because we're starting to catch up on that. But every year we need to be buying trucks and equipment to keep our fleet refreshed.
Yeah, because see, this is foreign language to me, and I didn't understand that when a person is driving one of those trucks, it's their responsibility to do all that care for them. So I'm like, okay, that's understandable, but it's like, to me, $20,000 is a lot of money difference from one bid to another. So I'm not on this committee, and I'm just trusting you guys that you're doing the best you can for our dollar. So that's what I'm asking here, because I'm gonna vote now on something that it's our tax dollars. So I want to make sure that you're assuring me that this is the right thing to do.
I am assuring you this is the right thing to do.
Okay, because I'm trusting you.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just new at this. So, thank you.
Other questions? There are no other questions, then all those in favor of this resolution say aye. Aye. Opposed? One
I don't
opposed.
have enough information. Sorry.
Okay. The resolution is adopted. All right. Item 18, a resolution establishing the procedure for Wisconsin statute 74.69 determination.
All right, this will be resolution number 25-29. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the authority to make a determination on Wisconsin statute 74.69 appeals shall be delegated to the Executive and Finance Committee. Be it further resolved that the procedure for making such a determination shall satisfy the appealant's due process rights, and that this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and publication. This is being offered to you by the Executive and Finance Standing Committee on April 8th of 2025.
Okay, that is the resolution before us. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Gill, second by Mr. Brookins. And discussion.
So this resolution is just more clearly defining how we delegate those tax appeals. So it's pretty standard to go to a committee meeting, have them look over all the documentation, and then report to the county board. So it's just really clearly defining the state statute to do that. We already do that for a lot of other things, but it's more clearly defining which committee it needs to go through before it goes through.
And to be, for a little extra background, this is a very specific type of situation that is happening now for the first time in anyone's memory. So we have to deal with it. So we needed to put in place a procedure to deal with it. It has to do with appealing the fact that a postal delay may have impacted somebody's notification. And I don't remember the whole story. You know, Attorney Wendell was explaining it to us at the committee.
So it's essentially if you feel as though your tax payment was considered untimely because of the delay in the U.S. Postal Service or an administrative error of the U.S. Postal Service, you can appeal it to be timely, but the county board has to approve that. So it's just more like defining how we do that process.
So in the case that one of those appeals comes, it would come to the Executive and Finance Committee as per this resolution. All right. Any further questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We're skipping 19 down to item 20, which is correspondence.
Nothing to report, Mr. Chair.
Correspondence to report. Future agenda items for the board. future agenda items anybody wants to see, bro? Mr. Gill?
I think we can take up that tire issue that was presented today. I think
Okay,
that-
yeah, we, obviously there's been some discussion about it happening, so we'll see which channel that needs to come through to get to us. Other future agenda items. Mr. McGuire?
Just want to make a comment that I thought it was a good idea if we hired a new administrator closer to town, but I didn't know we'd go across the street to get one. I just didn't.
So, any other future agenda items? If not, item number 22, looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Fleming, second by Gill. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.